Today we're going to be talking about a true crime case that has captured the hearts and minds of many, the tragic Bliefnick murder. Becky was an incredible woman, and more people must know about her. This story connects to Family Feud. Becky's murder, also known as the Bliefnick murder, is a case that has been featured in several true crime documentaries. Becky, born on November 19, 1981, in Quincy, Illinois, was a wonderful human. Raised in Quincy, where she spent her entire life, Becky attended Pack and Seymour Elementary School, Quincy Notre Dame High School, where she was valedictorian, and Quincy University, graduating cum laude with a bachelor's in biological science and a minor in chemistry. She was intelligent, driven, and deeply compassionate. In college, Becky met Tim, a football player. They became friends, started dating 2 years after graduation, moved in together, got married, and had children. Initially, their marriage seemed happy. Becky worked as a pharmaceutical sales rep before deciding to become a stay-at-home mom after their first son was born. Becky's ambition led her to pursue nursing, a decision that marked a turning point in her marriage. Tim became increasingly manipulative and controlling. Despite this, Becky excelled in nursing school and later as a nurse, even receiving the prestigious Daisy Award for her compassionate care during the pandemic. Her dedication to her patients, family, and community was remarkable. Tim's lack of support became evident during Becky's time in nursing school. Becky's sister, Sarah, noted that Tim stopped helping with their children, leaving Becky to manage her demanding schedule alone. Becky was not just a nurse, she was also a certified trauma nurse specialist, a sexual assault nurse examiner, and a dedicated volunteer. Her kindness, dedication to her children, and compassion for others made her a beloved figure in her community. In January 2021, after 11 years of marriage, Tim filed for divorce, kicking off a bitter battle over money, the house, and the kids. Tim even filed for an order of protection against Becky, citing harassment and stalking, but the judge did not grant it. Becky then filed her order of protection, accusing Tim of repeatedly entering her home without permission, but this too was not granted. Becky confided in her friends about Tim's abusive behavior, including screaming, shoving, and throwing things at her. In one text to her sister, she wrote, "If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number one person of interest is Tim." This was sent not long after a co-worker of hers was murdered by their partner, making Becky realize the potential for violence. On February 23, 2023, Becky Bliefnick, Tim Bliefnick's wife, was tragically murdered in her home. After Becky's dad received a text from Tim saying he couldn't reach her, he went to her house and found Becky shot to death in her bathroom. Investigators quickly realized that someone had pried open a window on the second floor to gain access and nothing was stolen, indicating the intent was to kill. Becky was shot 14 times, and the medical examiner confirmed she was alive for each one. Her phone was found with 91126 typed in, suggesting she tried to call for help but was stopped by her killer. Despite the noise of the attack, none of her neighbors heard anything. However, a neighbor's security camera recorded interesting footage. Officers canvassed the neighborhood and found a security camera next door to Becky's house. Though it didn't capture the night of the murder, it provided crucial information. Tim Bliefnick, Quincy, IL, is at the center of a high-profile case. From the night before at 1:05 a.m., a person was seen walking down Becky Bliefnick's driveway towards the back of her house. Then, 48 minutes later, that same person is seen walking away in the direction they had come from. And that wasn't the only instance. About a week earlier, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the security camera picked up almost the same thing. The neighbor said, "I was awake when I got the notification that someone had been detected by the camera. So I texted Becky right away, explaining that someone had just walked towards the back of her house, but I didn't get a response until the next morning. I honestly figured it was someone looking to steal something, but knowing what we know now, that person was probably not a porch pirate. It was most likely Becky's killer, looking for an opportunity or staking out the scene to make a plan." With this information, investigators decided to conduct an even broader search of surveillance footage. It turns out they were right. 2 additional cameras in the area captured what appeared to be an individual riding a bike in the direction of Becky's house, just before the person from the neighbor's security camera was seen walking down her driveway. Then, the cameras captured the same biker riding away from Becky's house shortly after that person was seen leaving her driveway. So every time someone was seen biking towards her house, someone was then seen walking down her driveway shortly after. And every time someone was seen leaving her driveway, someone was seen biking in the opposite direction shortly after. There was a clear pattern here. However, the footage was very low quality. The only detail they could figure out was that the bike didn't have reflectors on the wheels. But they weren't entirely in the dark about who this person could be. Sarah, Becky's sister, immediately had her hunch about who could have done this, and she didn't hesitate to let investigators know. Sarah and her husband Brett were on vacation when they first got the call about Becky's murder. They flew to Illinois as soon as they could and believed there was only one person who could have done this: Tim Bliefnick, Becky's soon-to-be ex-husband. Once investigators learned the details about their contentious divorce, the upcoming trial, and the fact that Tim lived only a mile from her house, they felt strongly that he could have been involved. The judge had ordered Tim to return a 9mm handgun that Becky had gifted him during their marriage, and he did not return it because he claimed he didn't know where it was. Becky was killed with a 9mm gun. A search warrant was executed on Tim's house, and among the items seized was a box full of shell casings found in his basement. Before investigators even executed the search warrant, they found a bike with no reflectors on the wheels abandoned in a bush less than a half block away from Tim's house. The bike on the surveillance footage didn't have reflectors on the wheels, so they believed it was possible that this could have been the bike. At this point, there was enough evidence to make an arrest. On March 13, 2023, just 2 weeks after Becky Bliefnick was killed, Tim Bliefnick was arrested for her murder and held without bond. If you haven't heard about this case, you might be wondering how Family Feud could play into it. In 2019, just 2 years before the murder, Tim Bliefnick was a contestant on the very popular game show Family Feud with his side of the family. During his episode, he was asked, "What is the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?" And Tim answered, "Saying I do." This clip resurfaced and went viral after his arrest, adding a chilling twist to an already tragic story. One aspect that caught public attention during Tim's arrest was his appearance. Tim looked significantly different in 2023 compared to how he looked on Family Feud in 2019. Back then, he had short, dark brown hair and no facial hair, presenting a clean-cut look. However, in his 2023 mugshot, Tim had gray hair past his shoulders and a goatee. Tim claimed he grew his hair out for cancer research, but some speculate he was trying to alter his appearance to be less recognizable. Searching Tim's phone, they discovered he had a secret Facebook account under the name John Smith, where he searched for a bike matching the one found abandoned. While Tim's DNA wasn't found on the bike, it's hard to ignore these coincidences. Is it all just coincidence, as Tim and his attorney argued, or do these details form a picture of a man who killed his wife? Prosecutors believed Tim methodically planned this murder. Their divorce trial was a week away. Tim feared losing custody, money, and the marital home. Tim Blunk was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of home invasion. Becky's family felt relief, but couldn't celebrate. Her sons, aged 12, 10, and 5, had lost both parents in different ways. Don't you think it's truly devastating to hear about these events? But let us know your thoughts and opinions on this story. Please share your thoughts on this case in the comments below. That wraps it up for us today, but we'll be back soon with another shocking case. Until then, stay safe and take care.